another episode of the Coffee and Podcast. We are all about coffee excellence and cultivating freedom. I'm your host, Philip Klayman. I'm one of the founders of Three Tree Coffee, and I'm super pumped to have a few of our shop managers on the show today who will be helping us recap the year 2024. What's something they're proud of? What advice would they give to others who may want to manage a coffee shop? Stay tuned to find out. So without any further ado, I'm going to go and introduce our shop managers. If you're listening to this through a podcast platform, I encourage you to check out the video as well on YouTube. We're all sitting here at a table, having a blast, already goofing off. But we will start right here at the end. The first person I want to introduce is Kimberly Mitchell, who is our porch location manager. Kim, thank you for joining. And what is your favorite seasonal drink that your location came up with this year?
Oh my goodness. There's so many really yummy ones, but I think my favorite is Cookies with Santa. It's a cookie dough latte, and you can have it frozen with a house-made whipped cream, and it is amazing.
Wow. Cookies with Santa. That sounds really good. Nice. Awesome. Okay. Next, we have Megan Hinson, who is our GSU library location shop manager. Megan, same question to you. Your favorite seasonal drink from your location this year?
I would have to say probably our dog cider. It was our apple cider with cranberry and cinnamon. It tastes like when you go home and have Thanksgiving with your family. I don't know how to describe how a feeling tastes, but that's how it tastes.
Nice. Awesome. Love it. And I do remember when you first told me about that drink, I thought you were saying dark cider in a weird accent. The dark cider. And I'm picturing like Darth Vader, but yeah, that's awesome. It is a very good drink. So awesome. And then lastly, at the end, we have Zach Donahue, who is our shop manager at the Midtown location. Zach, appreciate you joining. Same question to you as well.
Of course. It's going to sound really weird, but we have a drink right now. It's called the Ginger Snap Latte. And this drink is so great. And the reason I say it's going to sound a little weird is because we went in the savory route when it comes to drinks with this one. And I think we went into new territory. That was a little scary at first, to be honest, but it is so delicious and so good. And it just is like a gingerbread house in a cup. So
awesome. Cool. Well, love it. Well, we're going to get started off with a little bit of fun today. We're just going to play some fun games so you can get to know our shop managers a little bit better. And so the first thing I want us to do is a game called Two Truths and a Lie. So the way it's going to work is that all three of our shop managers sent me three statements. Two of them are truths. One is a lie. And all of the other shop managers have to try and guess which one is the lie. So we are going to start with Zach. Here are the three statements that he gave. The first one is that in 5th grade, Zach had to go to the ER for a black widow bite at school. The second statement, Zach once went 3 days without sleep in college due to procrastination. And the last statement, that Zach acquired vibriosis after a vacation to the beach, which took me out for a couple of months. TMI ... All right, Megan and Kimberly, what do you think? Was it he went to the ER for a black widow, he didn't sleep because of procrastination, or vibriosis from vacation? These are all like medically related.
Are
I
you
hope you're
okay?
I feel like I had to go that route.
I'm a little concerned.
Yes.
All right.
I don't know. I feel like not sleeping in college is pretty normal, so I feel like that's
that
true.
one's pretty.
Okay.
That looks true.
Yeah.
I love my sleep, though. So.
Yeah.
3 days due to procrastination doesn't matter if you like sleep or not.
I feel like the one. What did you say it was called?
The vibriosis?
I feel like you Googled that.
You think so?
Okay.
I'm gonna say that one.
Okay. That's
say
the
that
lie.
one. Yeah,
Megan,
that's
thoughts?
I know that sounds like I'm talking to a nurse when I hear that. I guess that one, yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Sounds a
Zach.
lie.
So we're thinking it's the vibriosis at the beach vacation. Which one's the lie?
I've never had any fun with a black widow, so.
Oh,
Wow.
I was
What?
thinking
So-
that, but I was like, the name is just throwing me off.
Am I pronouncing it correct? Vibriosis?
It's vibriosis. Yeah.
Vibriosis.
It was just like a bacteria infection that I got from the beach one time.
Wow. But you've
Ah.
never been bit by a black widow.
Nope.
See, if you had-
I did play with one when I was in primary school, and the teacher yelled at me to get away. But,
Yeah.
I feel like if you had said just a bacterial infection, I would have said, "Oh, that's probably true."
yeah, I had to give it a name.
Yeah.
Pull out the legal name of the
Yep.
infection.
That's how I stumped you.
All right. Well, we learned a little bit more about Zach today. Let's move on to Megan. The three statements she gave us were: 1, Megan has been a professionally trained singer for over a decade.
Mhm.
2, Megan has broken 2 bones.
Mhm.
3, Megan is allergic to silly string.
Mhm.
Professionally trained singer, 2 broken bones, allergic to silly string. Zach and Kimberly, what do you think
Oh, wow.
is the lie?
Okay, I feel
That
like
was good. That was good.
Thanks.
the silly string one is so bizarre. I feel like there has to be truth to it. Because how did you come up with that otherwise?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, what do you think, Zach?
You are a fantastic singer. I've
Yeah,
seen
I
you
was
in
going to say
your
that. I
covenant.
think that's true.
Yeah, Megan is a great singer.
Thank
So
you.
We all know
she
that.
could be stumping us with the professional.
Professionally trained
Yeah.
for over a decade.
This is
Okay.
true.
Let's start the guesses. What do y'all think?
I think silly string's true.
Silly string, I think is true. I think
Yeah.
you're allergic to silly string.
Well, so which one's the lie?
What's the lie?
Oh,
I lied
yeah.
one time.
You're definitely a professional. You've been professionally trained for singing.
Yeah.
So
For
broken
how
2
long?
bones.
I'm
You
going to
think
say
breaking-
broken 2 bones.
I don't think you broke 2 bones.
All right.
Yeah.
We think you're lying. That you have not broken 2 bones, Megan. 2 bones, Megan. What is it? Which one's the lie?
I've never broken a bone.
Oh my goodness! Nailed
Silly
it.
string, that's
Way to
great.
go, team.
I was at a birthday party one time, and I was just having a fun time. And they bring out the silly string, and then all of a sudden, they take the silly string off of me, and I have lines
Oh, man.
all
Goodness.
over my
Jeez.
body. And it's the only thing I've discovered that I may be allergic to. But I'm now petrified of silly string.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
I've been singing for 12 years.
I learned
Professionally.
something. Yes, I did know that. So and when did so you started how long ago? 12 years?
12 years ago, I
Okay.
joined a chorale group that we went around professionally competing against different chorale groups across the world, actually. We got invited to sing on the Great Wall of China. And my mom said no.
Oh.
She said, no, you can't go to China. So we went to Ohio instead.
Well,
So,
you know,
not the
not very
same.
comparable.
No Great Wall of Ohio.
The Great Corn Wall of Ohio. All my family's from Ohio. I'm allowed to say that. All right. So that was great. I learned something new about Megan. Let's move on to Kimberly. All right, Kimberly. So here are your 3 phrases. Firstly, Kimberly has never been out of the country with the exception of the Bahamas and Canada. 2, she's been married. You were married at the age of 20. Or 3, you have run a half marathon barefoot once.
The whole time?
All right. So been out of the never, except for Bahamas and Canada. Married at the age of 20. Ran a half marathon barefoot once. Whew. Well, we know she runs a lot, and we know she's married. So
Yeah.
those
I,
now
you
20
did
20
just
or,
have your anniversary, so I'm trying to think when you posted like year wise. I think you were married at 20.
I think so too.
So I think that's a truth.
I'm going to say the half marathon barefoot. I think that's meant to trick us because we know you're a runner.
I think you
True.
pulled the runner card on purpose.
What do y'all think?
Clever like
I'm
that.
going that route. Yep.
So the barefoot marathon.
Barefoot marathon.
That also hurt.
All right, that's what we think is the lie.
Ouch.
What's the lie?
Yes, I've never done it barefoot.
Oh, but how do you run a half marathon?
Probably about 10 to 12 of them. I
Wow.
lost count.
Ugh.
Okay, so lots of running.
Lots
Nice.
of running, but not barefoot.
I'm glad you had shoes.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, it's my turn. Y'all didn't know this, but I wrote down 3 phrases about
Ooh.
myself, and you have to try and figure out which one is the lie. All right? See how well you know your boss. First one is that I pioneered a student section for the UGA women's volleyball team in college. The second statement is that I played for my high school basketball team and led the team in rebounds my junior year. And the third one is that I was personally trained on the stand-up bass by a lead bassist in the Atlanta Symphony.
Golly, I don't even know.
Pioneered UGA women's volleyball team
Okay.
student section, played basketball in my junior year, led in rebounds, or trained on stand-up bass by the lead bassist in the Atlanta Symphony.
Okay, we know you went to UGA.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
That's
that
true.
one's true.
It's very specific.
It's very specific, but I don't know.
I feel like you just assume that we will think you have played basketball and led in rebounds because you're tall. Yeah, I think
Oh,
you're.
yeah.
That's true.
Did you pull
You're pulling our
did you
leg.
pull the tall card? I'm going to say the basketball one.
I wish I could say I could see it in his eyes.
These eyes give away nothing.
Okay. I'm going with the basketball.
Same.
I'm gonna go for something different. because we've been all going together, and I'm gonna try the bassist one. I
The
think.
bassist one.
Yeah, I think you're a liar.
Well, I'm definitely a liar. One of these is a lie. All right. Zach and Kimberly are correct.
Dang it!
I did not play basketball for my high school
This is
team.
why you shouldn't be a rebel.
I was thinking the best for him, and I was like, maybe he did.
Yeah, they invited me out to tryouts my freshman year because I was 6'5". I never got invited back. I was pretty terrible.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I was trained by Randy Uchek, who was a part of the Atlanta Symphony. He had a lot of cats. That's one of the biggest thing I remember. I'd go to his house and just cats everywhere. Randy, if you're listening to this, I love you and I appreciate you. But great time learning from him. And then, yes, I say I pioneered. There's a lot of other people that were involved, but me and some friends pioneered the first legitimate student section for UGA women's volleyball. We wanted to leave our mark on the university in some way.
Oh, sweet.
That was it. By our last year, they actually got a charter bus to take us from UGA to Georgia Tech for the Georgia Tech UGA volleyball game.
Oh, fun.
And like the school paid for our dinners for the charter bus.
Wow.
It was pretty awesome. We were called the Spike Squad. Good times. Good times. All right. Well, we've gotten to know a little bit more about each other, sharing more with you, the listener. We're going to do one more quick game. This one's called Over Under.
There we go.
I'm going to share just three statistics from this year, and they are not correct. And you have to tell me if you think the truth or the actual number is higher, over, or lower, under. And these have to do with 3Tree, okay? So the first one is that total drinks that all three of your locations sold this year, 107,188. Do you think the actual number is higher than that or lower than that? 107,188.
For all locations.
For all three locations, drinks.
I'm going to say
Doing a lot of math in my head.
Last year, because Midtown did like over 65,000 last year.
He said 700,000. No.
107,000.
188.
188. Very specific. I would say over.
I'm going to go with over. Yeah.
All right. All three managers think that we've done more drinks than that, and you are correct.
You guys are awesome.
Collectively, you've done 124,915 drinks as of this morning of filming, which is December 2nd for those who are listening.
Good job, baristas.
So, way to go. All right. Next one is how many 1 or 2 star reviews collectively do our locations have? All right. The number I'm giving you is 1. Total 1 or 2 star reviews for our 3 locations. I'm telling you it's 1, but that's wrong. Do you think the actual answer is over 1 or under 1?
I'm going to say under. I don't think we have anyone.
All
The
3?
confidence. All 3 locations. This is on Google and Yelp for anyone listening.
I think it's over.
Okay.
I don't think that we are 1 star or 2 star worthy, but some people are very persnickety, and I want to be disappointed. That's what I want.
I want to be disappointed.
I want to be wrong.
Yeah, and sometimes there's some things that are outside of our control.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So I just know that like there's some things that like we could just be closed one day that Google may say that we're open, and someone will be like 1 star, they weren't open. So
That makes sense.
Okay.
Over.
Zach thinks over. All right, so more than 1 or 2 star reviews. The answer is over.
No.
We've had 2.
Okay.
1 or 2 star reviews
between 3
all
locations.
year between your 3 locations.
Still
Oh,
amazing.
this year.
This year.
Oh, I would have
Two.
maybe answered differently.
Sorry, yes, this is all 2024 information. So to give you some context, we've had 109 5-star reviews throughout this year. So way to go. I don't know how many total reviews. I stopped counting it there. It was a lot of counting. But so anyways, way to go. That's pretty awesome.
pretty good,
I'm actually really proud of that. It is difficult. As you were saying, Megan, you really can't control everything. And there's always situations that come up where it's like, oh man, that didn't go exactly as we'd want. But to do that consistently is very impressive. So way to go. All right, last one. The number of coffee bags sold in the shops in 2024. Number of coffee bags sold. The number I'm giving you is 3,024. Do you think the actual number is over or under?
And this is for all 3.
All 3
combined.
shops.
Is this including like taking them to events that we've
Yes.
done at Trolley's?
I know the
events?
answer.
That would include Charles.
I know the answer.
You looked it
know
up
the
already?
answer?
I want to go last because I know the answer.
What about 5 pound, 3 pound, everything?
Just 12 ounce.
Okay.
Just a 12 ounce bag. Good
Okay,
question.
so we're not talking about like the ordering that people do. This is just in shop sales.
Just in shop
Okay,
sales
gotcha.
or trolley events.
Okay. And what was the number again?
3,024.
I think under.
I'm going to say under.
I think under.
It's over. And I know it's over.
It's actually under.
It's
under.
I would have assumed it was over because we're so awesome.
I
just wanted to say that it was
I agree.
over.
We are awesome.
But I just was trying to think back on our donation
our
sales.
donations. Good call, because we did actually talk about this.
I was talking about our
few weeks
donation
back.
sales, and it was what? I think it was like.
So what you're thinking of, which great memory, by the way, because you're thinking of total donations this year that we've given is over $5,000,
Yes.
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And we give $1 per coffee bag that we sell. So you're like, okay, that's probably close to 5,000.
Exactly.
There's other giving besides that. The total coffee bags sold is 2,623. But even then, just from coffee bag sales, we donated $2,623 to safe houses in our area.
Nice.
Awesome. Pretty awesome. So anyways, great job, guys. That was super fun. Now, let's ask you all a couple questions. Let's get to know you a little bit better. I just have a few questions for each of you. And the first one I want to ask you is, what's one thing, and try to keep each answer brief because we have 3 people answering, but what's one thing that makes your location unique? Say your location, what makes it unique? Let's start with you, Kimberly.
So I'm at the porch, and what makes our location so unique is that it's a house, and it's an old house, and it was built in 1897. So there's a lot of character. There's a lot of rooms. People come in and they're saying, "Oh my gosh, this is just so cute. Like there's so many places to sit. Where do I sit?" And some people can sit on the porch and relax. Some people study inside. There's multiple rooms. So it's just unique because it's a house and it's an older house.
Yeah, it is a super cool spot. And tons of people who leave reviews about the porch talk about the atmosphere, the environment, the wraparound porch. It's funny, with some of the original purchase documents, we found out that I think it was purchased in 1897 for $600.
Yeah.
Which that's how much it now costs to fix the AC about every month, right?
Yes.
So it definitely has its unique components of fixing stuff, but it is an awesome, unique location.
Absolutely.
So, cool. All right, Megan, GSU.
I would say it being inside of a library. There's a lot of challenges with it being inside of a library, mainly because we're very loud people. And so libraries don't allow that. But it's super cool to see like the students on campus and like kind of interacting with them and kind of like, I don't know, it's so fast paced and but so unique because it's like we get to like kind of live inside of the library. I get to interact with like librarians and we don't get told to be quiet very often, but when we do, it's kind of
Stern.
So.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So if you think about back to college days, some of you are in college, those who are past college, remember you have like a 15-minute break to get from one class to the next.
Mm-hmm.
That 15 minutes is when those baristas
I'm
are going
busy.
crazy
Yeah.
trying to keep up with the line. And then it's like calm for like 30 minutes and it's crazy for 15. So
My goal is to get you to class on time.
there you go. Our commitment to you, the student. All right. Awesome. Zach, let's end with you. Something that makes your location unique.
Absolutely. So Midtown was where it all started as far as the cafe component. I think that's important to add. Especially from a customer perspective, 2 of the biggest things are brunch on Saturdays and the fact that we have an upstairs. I have noticed any coffee shop we've been to, or a lot of coffee shops, there's not an upstairs. So, but brunch, mainly brunch. It is chaotic. It is crazy. We only do it on Saturdays from 8 to 1. So that's like the prime time, but that's pretty awesome.
Very cool. Yep. And then the upstairs is called the treehouse. It's kind of neat, themed to kind of look like a treehouse. So pretty neat. Awesome. All right. So the next question I want to ask you, and we'll go in reverse order, starting with you, Zach, is what's one thing that you're proud of this year in terms of 3 Tree? When you look back over the year, what's something that you're proud of?
Yeah, this is going to sound corny, but I'm really proud of the team. We have just go-getters left and right. In my time here learning as a manager, this year I feel like I have really been more hands-off than I have been in the past, and I attribute that to just people being willing to say yes and to go after it. So just very thankful for that. I don't want to get too relaxed and too comfortable, but just extremely thankful and proud of the team where we're at. Very sympathetic and empathetic culture right now that people are just, really willing to serve. I mean, not just other teammates, but the customers as well. So
Awesome. Cool. All right. Megan, something you're proud of this past year?
I'm really proud of like the risks that we've been taking I like that we've been like kind of pursuing different things, even if it like doesn't seem like it'd be like super like fruitful at first, and kind of watching stuff unfold as people get really excited to continue to watch us do different things, because we've been like servicing this community for how long?
Gosh, in 2014.
2014. And so I feel like this year's been a year of risk of like, man, let's just try this. Let's try this. And like watching our community kind of back us up as we try different things is just really cool. And then we're also able to give like really cool products, like our instant coffee that just came out. We're able to try to do different things and give awesome product by like just taking some cool risks. So I'm proud of.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing. I'm going to piggyback off that one for a second, because we really have had a few swing and misses this year. I know I shared this with y'all already, that 2024 was, I think from the way anyone else would look at it, it'd be easy to call it kind of a failure from attempts. We attempted a lot of things, and a lot of things did not pan out the way we wanted. We tried this big digital ad campaign that really did not work out. We launched canned Snap Chill, which was awesome. For anyone that tasted it, it was delicious.
So
Yeah.
We were getting momentum. Customers loved it. And then it got recalled, not because anyone got sick. Our co-packer had an FDA compliance issue. It was a huge mess.
Yep.
And we ended up having to shut the whole thing down. And we spent a lot of time working on that and many other things as well. And I want to throw out really quickly, Megan also does our trolley coordination. So where our trolley goes, Megan is usually the person that's determining that and talking with the various people. And I know there have been a couple of things we've tried with the trolley that maybe didn't even pan out, but other things we've tried that did work out.
Yeah.
So all that to say, an interesting year, but I love it. I want us to be a team that's taking risks, right?
Yeah.
Being bold, taking a shot, going after it, and not being deterred by failure. So love it. All right, Kimberly, why don't you wrap us up? What's something that you're proud of from this past year?
Mine is similar to Zach's, and also not to sound corny, but I really am proud of like our leadership team, because I feel like what I've shared with you in the past, there are moments where management seems very lonely, at the top. And I feel like we have a really strong team, and we're able to go to one another and like, okay, you're going to have to help me plow through this. This is a tough couple of weeks, and then just you and the other owners, like giving us the ability to be able to run our teams, but also being there when we do need you as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
like my biggest.
That's awesome. It's so cool to hear that, and I see it as well. We have such a collaborative team culture, right? And I hope our baristas feel that in the shops. We really try to cultivate that in the shops. I see it in the shops just from a customer or when I'm walking through. But what I think is kind of neat for our customers to hear, and even some of our staff who may be listening, is that we really have that among our leadership as well. We meet every Monday. We're talking with one another. We're calling each other throughout all the week, trying to problem solve, brainstorm. It's really impressive and really neat to see.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
All right. So I got one more question for you each, and we'll go back down the line. So Kimberly, we'll start with you. What advice would you give others who want to manage a coffee shop?
So my biggest piece of advice would be to really invest in your people and to love people, because I think the business side of running a coffee shop can be very monotonous. It's a lot of the same tasks over and over again. They're usually pretty simple tasks, but it's the people, it's the most challenging part of it, but I feel like it's the most important part of it. And rallying and creating a team, because you can have just employees that don't like each other. Or you can build a team and really pour into that. And sometimes that's after hours and, being available to them. So I would say definitely loving and pouring into your people is number one, because I think business, if you do that well, the business will automatically get the ripple effects
Mic drop
of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. It is the hardest part, and it's the most important part, is trying to get a bunch of people collectively on the same page. That's the hardest part of any business, right? And so your advice is invest in your people, care about them, right? After hours. I heard you mention that, right? Like it's not always at the convenient times that you're there to serve your team, but serve your team. So awesome. All right.
I would say be willing. That's one of my biggest things that I've learned as I'm growing in management, is like always being willing to go the extra mile, always being willing to try again whenever things don't go exactly the right way. Be willing when it's hard, be willing when you don't want to come in. And it's just like, just keep going. Cause like, there's been times that I'm like, oh man, I just don't want to do this, but like, it just, I'm like, I need to just being willing to open up to new opportunities, to new ways of doing things, and just kind of going for it full force, and kind of just, I don't know, like, kind of like watching it kind of go forward, because like once you start it, the ball will just keep rolling. And so just like always having a willing attitude is going to be like what I would say is the most important part of management. That's along great. With loving your people, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and there's also lots of curveballs that come at you in management. So the willingness helps when you're asked to do things, asked to clean a really nasty pump underneath an espresso machine that's full of grounds and gross. This is a unique GSU thing, by the way. Right, when those unique requests
continue to mop the floors if it floods multiple times.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. Love it. All right, Zach, you want to finish us off?
Of course. It's funny. I just all these things culminate together. They're so important. My perception on it, and I've learned this a lot from you. I've learned this a lot in just moments and passing in time and things like that. But you got to have a passion for every step of it, and you can't get in the idea in your head that you're gonna get to really enjoy the good parts and then get through the bad parts. I've learned that I got to love the bad parts as well, and not just to say that, but to really actually dive in. And honestly, if I've treated it like anything, it's been games for me over the years. I'm just playing a game that is sometimes really hard to play, and just trying to get to the end and really wanting to, win the game with your team. Of course, it's not just a single player; it's a team effort, and bringing them in on that passion is really important. I think a lot of what they said is what helps do that, but just having the passion, perspective that you're going to want to do that is really important. So.
That's really good. I think the definition of passion, it may not be exactly this, but it's something you're willing to sacrifice for or die for. Like you're willing to give something up for it is one of the actual definitions of passion. Not that I want you to die for any of this. That's not what I'm asking, but I love that, right? If you're going to do something well, it's going to take some level of sacrifice, right? And there are the good times. We have fun. There's great times. There's a lot of really difficult times too. And are you willing to fight through those? And are you passionate about it or not?
Yeah.
It's a really great question to ask yourself. If anyone out there is looking to do management, do you love coffee? Do you love people? Because that's what you need to be willing to sacrifice for. All right. Well, we've recapped a little bit of this past year for 3Tree. We've gotten to know our shop managers a little bit better as well. I told each of you that you could surprise me with one question about this past year or 3Tree. I don't know what they're going to ask me. I'd be lying if I wasn't a little nervous. We'll see what you ask me. So, Zach, I'll let you go first. What question do you want to ask me?
I would like for you to share your lowest point in your journey, specifically as entrepreneurial ship with 3Tree Coffee. And then any advice that you were given during that time, and like if you want to share that as well.
My lowest point at 3Tree, and then any advice. It's going to sound kind of like a cop-out sort of answer, but I mean, COVID 2020 was just... I literally don't remember most of that year. Like I don't have a memory of most of it. I think because it was just such fight or flight survival mentality, right? And so for those of you who don't know, in our story of 3Tree, 2020 was the year we purchased the Porch location where Kimberly's the manager. It was an existing coffee shop called the Front Porch in Pooler. And we were buying it from someone named Abby. And we had been talking about this all throughout 2019, right? None of this happens overnight. This has been discussed throughout 2019. We made our decision in 2019, but the closing date of buying that location was March 7th, 2020. And it was March 13th, 2020 that the world shut down. And it was just absolute chaos. The silver lining in all of that is I do remember pretty vividly the creativity and the passion, the sacrifice, right? The passion for what we're doing, not just from the staff, I'll get to them in a second, but even from the customers. It was amazing to see our communities rally around us. And I literally had customers come up to me and say, I just want to buy $300 of gift cards because I want this to last, right? I mean, people recognize that all businesses were struggling and customers were prioritizing keeping us around. That was incredible.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, the staff. Oh, the creativity was unreal. We did something called the Trolley Neighborhood Tour, where we took the trolley to different neighborhoods to deliver bags of coffee, bulk food, different things, and toilet paper. We partnered with Bullock Janitorial, a local paper supply company. If you remember 2020, no one could get toilet paper, right? So we actually would take toilet paper to the neighborhoods as well. We gave out free drinks to the kids, free cookies, free drinks and cookies to the kids. It was just it was amazing to see the team come up with something that creative. And that literally, like that boost of sales for the trolley neighborhood tour was absolutely necessary, or else we would not have made it through.
That's awesome.
The other silver lining to this is, right from the get-go, it put a lot of pressure on the porch staff and culture, right? Like, we're the new people and we inherited these employees, and they're thinking, can we trust you, right? From day one, they're thinking, can we trust you?
Yeah.
And we fought to keep them all a part of our organization and to really try to serve them during that time, which was really difficult. We actually had to close the porch location for like a month and a half because we just couldn't sustain it. But we were able to keep those who needed the employment doing something, right? And it was neat to see how it really brought us together really quickly. So if I have advice, that was the last thing you said. If I had advice from all that, I think it would be, to just don't stop. Just don't stop, right? I mean, right when you're in your moment, it's probably like a good workout advice. I don't work out, but
This David Goggins mentality.
Right when you think no pain, no gain, right? It's like right when you think you just can't make it through, just like step back, take a breath, and be like, okay, what's the next step I can take?
Yep.
And take the step and just keep moving one step at a time. I've shared this with some of y'all before. A quote by a Roman poet that stone is not carved by water because of strength, but by persistence, right? Little by little, step by step. And that's the advice I'd give. So
Thanks for sharing.
all right, Megan, your question.
Funnily enough, I have a very similar question. What was the moment that you realized that 3Tree was it? Like that was like what you're going to continue pursuing full time. Like this is the moment that you're like, oh man, like I'm doing this full time and it's also working out really well.
Okay. I'd say I have two different moments for that. So one moment where it's like, okay, we're doing this, like we're going all in. And then a second moment of, oh, wow, it's working. So the first one was I was working at a bank before we started 3Tree, and we were roasting on the side, right? So my wife and I were roasting, and we were selling at farmers markets, but we didn't have a coffee shop at this point. And I remember the Midtown location that whole building was foreclosed on, so it was empty. And Kimberly Daly, who's one of the part owners of 3Tree, she was driving by it one day and was like, I'm going to look in the window of this spot right here. She looked in the window and she called me and she said, Philip, we should open up a coffee shop and it should be right here. Like, this is it. I can see it. And so we just started talking about it and we thought, well, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a shot. We were never planning to open coffee shops. But we said, well, why not? I mean, Statesboro kind of needs it. That's where it all started. It's like, there's really not that many local coffee shops. The Daily Grind's been around for a long time. Shout out to the Daily Grind. They've been a staple in this community for a long time. But other than that, there weren't a lot of options at that time. And so I remember I was thinking a lot, praying about, do we leave the bank? Do I leave the bank, right? Like if we open a coffee shop, we need to be involved, right? There's just really no other way. The math really makes much sense. And I remember there was a lot of prayer, a lot of discussion, and it's hard to say an exact moment, but at some point I remember just thinking, I will always wonder what if, right? If I don't try, I'll always wonder what if. And I actually give that as advice to a lot of people now, because I hear a lot of people, they'll meet with me and ask questions about starting a business. And a lot of times they'll be like, well, if I can just get to this point financially, or if my kids can just get this old, or if it's almost like that point is always in the future. And what I always encourage is like, it'll always be something else. There's really never a convenient time. And the most convenient time is when you don't have kids and you're in your 20s, honestly. Like that's when you can take the biggest risk and just give it a shot, see what happens. And so I decided just to, you know what, I'll always regret it. Let's give it a shot. So that's when we jumped ship from all in, right? Not jumped ship, jumped in the ship. So now the moment we knew it was working, I would say there's kind of two things. One is grand opening night for Midtown. We did all this work, making the place look nice, ordering the equipment, training the staff, building the menu, pricing it out, marketing, all this work. And we're like, it's like 5 o'clock, 2 hours before open. And we're like, is this going to work? Is anyone going to show up? And we had a line literally all the way down to State Farm wrapped around the building. That's crazy. The whole night. And I just remember being like, wow, okay. I think we're going to be all right. And then I think the second time was honestly making it through 2020, because most businesses, it takes about 5 years to really like get comfortable as a business financially. And if you do the math, like 2019 was for us the year where it was like, okay, like I think we're really hitting some sustainable levels. It's not sacrificed as much on a financial front. And then 2020 hit, and it was just a total backwards year. And so I remember really being worried, like, is this enough to really put the nail in the coffin? And so making it through that 2021, 2022, kind of building back out of that, making it through it was kind of my second revelation of, wow, all right, this is going to work. And we're here to stay. So, nice. All right. Kimberly, you're the last one. What's your question for me?
Okay. So if you could go back and do any one thing differently from the beginning, what would you do?
Oh, one thing different. Man, I'm very much like a no regrets type of person. So it's even hard to, like, I usually don't even let myself entertain those sorts of thoughts. Right? Because it's like, well, I can't. So just backwards. What's next? Well, I always look ahead. But let me think about that.
Just one thing.
Man. One thing that I would have done differently. I'm kind of stumped on this one.
Yes. That was my goal.
I say we do one of those 3-hour cuts on SpongeBob SquarePants, and then we do
3 hours later. we may need to cut out some time as I think about this, because I'm really struggling here. Once again, there have been a lot of things this year that were swing and misses. I mean, actually, there's one I could probably point to easily for 2024, and it's this digital ads campaign. We vetted a few different companies, and one of our goals is to grow as a regional roaster. Right? We want to be known as a good specialty coffee roaster, not just to Statesboro and Pooler, which we love those communities, but we want to be like, yeah, we're legit. Yeah. We know we're good. Like, we're making good stuff. And so we want to be known in Georgia and the Southeast and the US. And the digital ads was just a huge swing and miss. And it cost us a lot of money. It wasted a lot of time. Even the ad agency was perplexed, which was almost annoying and frustrating, right? It's like, you're supposed to be like the experts on this. So that's an easy one I can point to this year. I think that's my answer. I can't think of much else I would say that I regret or I would do differently. I'm sure there's little things, but that's the big one that stands out for this year.
I remember the ad campaign. And
was I sadder during that month?
I would say it was frustrating for all involved, including me.
Yeah, it was frustrating. That was disappointing. Once again, a year that things did not go as we were thinking. What's that?
I was going to say you were probably digitally down.
Is that fun?
It was.
Okay.
I tried.
Yeah, so that was definitely a good way to kind of wrap it up, because once again, 2024 was just, there was some regrettable things in this year. And
we learned a lot.
Boom, you learned so much.
Yeah.
You learned so much. And that's really all I can share at the end is I don't think that's why I regret anything, is because through all of it, I learned something. Right. And when I started this business, I genuinely had no clue what I was doing. And I mean that, no clue. HR, finance, even coffee. I'm like, I really didn't know how to make good coffee back in 2014. I could make decent coffee, but not like great coffee. I've learned so much about all of this over the years, and most of it has been honestly through messing up. Like, you do it wrong, and you just adjust and figure it out as you go. And so, not being afraid to fail is a big component of leading business.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, this was an awesome time of recapping 2024. I want to thank all of our shop managers for being on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I want to just share one more thing. I would be remiss to not say that Zach has been one of our shop managers for he's been with our organization for 3 years now, shop manager for a year and a half, 2 years?
A little over 2, I think.
You were over GSU at one point, and then you were over Midtown. And Zach is going to be moving on from our organization here soon. He's got some exciting opportunities and an awesome fiance.
She's pretty great. She's probably watching this at some point. So.
There you go. Yeah. So he's going to be moving up to Watkinsville, Georgia. So he won't be with us anymore starting here in a couple of weeks. By the time this podcast airs, he may have moved on at that point. And so I just want to take a moment, Zach, and just say thank you so much for your time with us, for just investing so much time. And you've learned so much, you've grown so much, you've given so much. Passion, sacrifice, man, you've got it. And one of our culture points is humble problem solvers. I think you epitomize that to a T. You are always solving problems, you're always serving, and you don't want credit for it. So thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. And Megan is going to be moving to the Midtown shop manager. And we will have one of our current baristas named Maya, who's going to become our GSU shop manager.
Shout out Maya.
Always excited to be able to meet new people, invest in new people.
Mm-hmm.
Always sad to see others go, but excited for what's ahead.
Yes.
To all of you listening, I hope you enjoyed learning more about our shop managers and learning more about Three Tree over this past year. And we appreciate you for listening. Please give us a review, give us some comments, give us likes on all the posts. These things really help us.
Let's
And
do
of
it.
course, as always, thank you for helping us cultivate freedom.